Imagine believing your blood pressure is good because one number looks normal, while another silent warning sign has been growing stronger every single day. Most adults over 60 focus on the numbers they recognize. But many heart attacks and strokes happen in people who thought their blood pressure was under control. Today, I'll show you the hidden pattern that many people never learn until it's too late. Here's something that surprises almost every patient I meet. Two people can have exactly the same blood pressure reading, yet one has a much higher risk of stroke, memory loss, or heart failure than the other. The difference isn't luck. It isn't genetics alone. It's understanding what those numbers are actually trying to tell you. A few years ago, I met a 69-year-old grandmother who proudly carried a notebook filled with blood pressure readings. She never missed a measurement. She exercised, ate healthy meals, and faithfully took her medication. She believed she was doing everything right. Then one afternoon, while gardening, she suddenly became dizzy and collapsed. The emergency room doctors found that her blood pressure wasn't the whole story. Fortunately, she recovered. But during her follow-up visit, she looked at me with tears in her eyes and asked a question I still remember today. "Doctor, if I was checking my blood pressure every day, how did I miss the warning?" That question reflects what millions of older adults wonder after a serious health scare. I'm Dr. Michael Carter, and for more than 20 years I've worked with older adults trying to prevent heart attacks, strokes, and heart failure before they happen. I've learned that the biggest danger isn't always extremely high blood pressure. Sometimes it's misunderstanding what your readings really mean and making decisions based on incomplete information. Think of your arteries like flexible garden hoses. When you're young, they stretch easily every time your heart pumps blood. But as the years pass, those hoses gradually become stiffer. Your heart must push harder to move blood through them. This change happens so slowly that most people never notice it, yet it changes how blood pressure should be interpreted after age 60. The surprising part is that this process often begins years before you ever feel symptoms. Your brain, kidneys, eyes, and heart quietly adapt while tiny amounts of damage accumulate over time. That's why waiting until you feel sick can be one of the biggest mistakes people make. Now, I don't want this to frighten you. Getting older does not automatically mean you're heading toward a heart attack or stroke. Many adults in their 70s, 80s, and even 90s maintain excellent heart health. The goal isn't to fear every blood pressure reading. It's to understand which patterns deserve attention and which ones simply need monitoring. The first mistake I see is judging your health from a single blood pressure reading. One measurement tells you almost nothing. Blood pressure naturally rises when you're stressed, excited, in pain, or even after climbing stairs. Your body is constantly adjusting to what's happening around you. That's why doctors look for trends instead of isolated numbers. Imagine checking your weight immediately after a large holiday dinner and assuming that's your normal weight forever. It wouldn't make sense. Blood pressure works much the same way. Consistent patterns are far more important than one unexpected result. Research has repeatedly shown that blood pressure changes throughout the day because of hormones, activity, emotions, sleep quality, hydration, and even room temperature. One unusually high reading doesn't necessarily mean your heart is in immediate danger, but repeatedly elevated readings deserve careful evaluation with your healthcare provider. I once treated a retired teacher who rushed into my clinic convinced she needed stronger medication because her home monitor showed an alarming number one morning. After reviewing 2 weeks of carefully recorded readings, we discovered every other measurement was within her normal range. That frightening result came after she had argued with her insurance company for nearly an hour. Instead of adding another medication, we adjusted when she measured her blood pressure, encouraged a few minutes of quiet rest beforehand, and continued monitoring. Her average readings remained stable, and she avoided unnecessary side effects. Sometimes the smartest treatment begins with better information, not more pills. The second hidden issue many adults overlook is what happens during the first hour after waking up. Your body naturally releases hormones that prepare you for the day. These hormones increase alertness, but they can also cause a temporary rise in blood pressure. For some people, that morning surge becomes much stronger with age. A large morning spike has been associated with a greater risk of heart attacks and strokes because those events often happen shortly after waking. That doesn't mean every morning increase is dangerous. It means consistently large surges should be discussed with your doctor, especially if they're accompanied by headaches, dizziness, chest discomfort, or unusual fatigue. This is why the timing of your measurements matters almost as much as the numbers themselves. In the next section, I'll show you 4 overlooked warning signs hiding inside ordinary blood pressure readings, explain why some normal numbers can actually be misleading after 60, and reveal simple habits that may help protect your heart for years to come. The third warning sign is something most people never think about: how much your blood pressure changes from day to day. It's normal for your readings to move up and down a little. But if they swing dramatically without a clear reason, your blood vessels may be struggling to adjust. In older adults, large fluctuations have been linked with a higher risk of stroke and cardiovascular problems. Imagine driving a car that constantly speeds up to 80 miles per hour, then suddenly slows to 30, then races back to 80 again. Even if the average speed seems reasonable, the constant changes put extra stress on the engine. Your arteries experience something similar when blood pressure repeatedly rises and falls throughout the day. I've seen patients whose average blood pressure looked acceptable on paper, yet their readings bounced between very low and very high. Those swings often explained why they felt exhausted one day, lightheaded the next, and perfectly fine after that. It wasn't just the average that mattered, it was the instability behind it. If your readings regularly differ by 25 or 30 points without obvious reasons like exercise or emotional stress, don't ignore it. Keep a detailed record and bring it to your healthcare provider. Those patterns may reveal information that a single office visit never could. The fourth hidden danger often begins while you're asleep. During healthy sleep, blood pressure usually falls by about 10 to 20%. Doctors sometimes call this the nighttime dip. It's one of the ways your heart and blood vessels recover from the work they've done all day. But some adults over 60 never experience that normal drop. Others actually have higher blood pressure during the night than during the day. Because they're asleep, they feel no warning signs. Yet their heart, brain, and kidneys may be under constant strain for hours without them realizing it. Researchers have found that poor sleep, untreated sleep apnea, obesity, diabetes, and chronic stress can all interfere with this natural nighttime recovery. Many people wake up believing they had a full night's rest while their cardiovascular system spent the entire night working overtime. One gentleman I treated kept asking why his daytime blood pressure seemed difficult to control despite taking his medications exactly as prescribed. A sleep evaluation eventually revealed severe sleep apnea. After treatment, not only did his energy improve, but his blood pressure became significantly easier to manage. I'm curious about you. Do you usually check your blood pressure only when something feels wrong? Or do you keep a regular record? And have you ever noticed that your morning readings look very different from your evening ones? Let me know in the comments because your experience might help someone else recognize an important pattern. The fifth mistake is believing you'll always feel high blood pressure. In reality, hypertension has earned the nickname the silent killer for a reason. Many people with dangerously elevated readings feel completely normal. They have no headache, no chest pain, and no obvious warning that damage may already be occurring inside their arteries. On the other hand, some people experience headaches or dizziness with blood pressure that isn't especially high. That's why symptoms alone should never determine whether your blood pressure is safe. Your body doesn't always send reliable signals, especially as you get older. One retired firefighter told me he felt fantastic and almost skipped his annual physical because he hadn't been sick in years. During that visit, his blood pressure was consistently elevated. Further testing showed early kidney changes that could have progressed silently for years. Because the problem was found early, treatment helped prevent much more serious complications. Here's another concept that deserves more attention. Every heartbeat is like lifting a weight. When blood pressure stays elevated for months or years, your heart must push against greater resistance every single time it contracts. Eventually, the heart muscle can become thicker and stiffer, making it harder to pump efficiently. At first, this extra effort causes no symptoms. Then climbing stairs becomes more tiring. Walking long distances feels harder than it used to. Some people notice swelling in their ankles or increasing shortness of breath. They blame aging, but in many cases, the heart has simply been working overtime for too long. So what should you do at your next doctor's appointment? Instead of asking only, "Is my blood pressure okay?" Try asking deeper questions. Ask whether your readings show a consistent pattern. Ask if your medications might be causing dizziness or increasing your risk of falls. Ask whether home monitoring would provide a clearer picture than occasional office visits. In just a moment, I'll explain when a high blood pressure reading is truly an emergency, when it's safer to pause and measure again, and the simple daily habits that can make a meaningful difference for many adults over 60. We'll also end with one patient story that perfectly illustrates why understanding your numbers is far more powerful than fearing them. One of the biggest questions I hear is, "Doctor, when should I panic?" The answer may surprise you. A high blood pressure reading alone is not always a medical emergency. What matters just as much is whether you're having symptoms. Understanding this difference can prevent unnecessary fear while helping you recognize when every minute truly counts. If your monitor shows a reading above 180 over 120 and you suddenly develop chest pain, severe shortness of breath, confusion, difficulty speaking, weakness on one side of the body, vision loss, or the worst headache of your life, don't wait to see if it improves. Call emergency services immediately. Those symptoms may indicate that your blood pressure is damaging vital organs in real time. But let's look at the other side. Suppose you check your blood pressure after rushing up the stairs, drinking several cups of coffee, or having a stressful phone call. The reading is much higher than usual, yet you feel completely normal. In many cases, the safest first step is to sit quietly, relax for 5 to 10 minutes, and measure again before assuming the worst. I've had patients arrive terrified because one unexpected reading convinced them disaster was moments away. After resting quietly, their blood pressure dropped significantly without any medication. That's why healthcare professionals look for consistent patterns and symptoms, not isolated moments that may simply reflect temporary stress or physical activity. Now let's talk about the habits that often make the biggest difference. You don't always need dramatic lifestyle changes. Small, consistent improvements usually produce the greatest long-term benefits. Daily walking, limiting excess sodium, eating more vegetables and fruits, staying hydrated, maintaining a healthy weight, sleeping well, and managing stress all support healthier blood pressure over time. Even something as simple as taking your medication at the same time every day can improve consistency. Skipping doses, doubling up because you forgot yesterday's pill, or stopping medication because one reading looked normal can create dangerous swings that place unnecessary strain on your heart and blood vessels. Another habit that's often overlooked is bringing your home blood pressure log to every medical appointment. A week's worth of carefully recorded readings usually tells your doctor much more than one number measured in a busy clinic. The more complete the picture, the more personalized and often safer your treatment decisions become. The encouraging news is that your future isn't determined by today's blood pressure reading. Your arteries, heart, and overall cardiovascular health respond to consistent care. I've seen adults in their 70s and 80s lower their cardiovascular risk through better monitoring, healthier routines, improved sleep, and carefully adjusted treatment plans. It's never too late to make meaningful improvements. Medicine has also improved tremendously over the past 2 decades. We now understand blood pressure far better than we once did. Today's treatment isn't simply about forcing numbers lower. It's about balancing protection from heart attacks and strokes while avoiding unnecessary dizziness, falls, kidney problems, and medication side effects, especially in older adults. I remember one patient, a retired engineer in his early 70s, who became obsessed with chasing the perfect blood pressure number. He checked it 10 times a day and worried over every tiny change. Together, we shifted his focus from perfection to consistency. Within a few months, not only were his readings more stable, but his anxiety had almost disappeared. Sometimes protecting your heart also means protecting your peace of mind. Remember this simple truth. Your blood pressure is not your enemy. It's your body's way of sending information. Wisdom comes from understanding the message, not fearing the number. So let's quickly review what we've learned today. Don't judge your health from one reading. Watch long-term trends instead of isolated spikes. Pay attention to large day-to-day changes. Remember that healthy sleep plays an important role in blood pressure control. Don't rely on symptoms alone. And work closely with your healthcare provider to understand what your numbers mean for your unique situation. Most importantly, don't compare your blood pressure with your neighbors, your spouse's, or something you read online. Every person's medical history, medications, risk factors, and overall health are different. The safest target for you is the one that protects both your heart and your quality of life. Now I'd love to hear from you. Have you checked your blood pressure this week? Did anything in today's video surprise you? Share your experience in the comments because your story may encourage someone else to take their heart health more seriously. And if you found this video helpful, please subscribe, like the video, and share it with someone over 60 who deserves clear, trustworthy health information. Every week on this channel, we break down complicated medical topics into simple, practical advice that helps you make informed decisions about healthy aging. Whether it's heart health, blood sugar, memory, balance, nutrition, or medications, our goal is to help you stay independent, active, and confident for many years to come. Thank you for spending these few minutes with me. Remember, knowledge doesn't eliminate every health risk, but it helps you make better decisions every single day. Take care of your heart, because it has been taking care of you your entire life. And finally, this video is for educational purposes only. It is not personal medical advice. Always consult your physician before changing your medications, treatment plan, or health routine.